What's up, TTM Academy? Shout out to everybody that's watching. You can like, you can subscribe. So yeah, basically, we're going to do a lecture today on Hot 97 and how it's actually, puppeteering black culture. And, since the early 90s, they knew about the Yusef Hawkins thing. So we're going to expose that whole thing today. This is about Yusef Hawkins and the fact that Ebro knew for at least 18 years. We're going to show the video of him saying that he knew for 18 years that
we apologize.
DJ or Hot 97 personality employee for over 30 years, Paddy Duke, told Ebro that he was in a mob that killed a black man, Yusef Hawkins, a racist Italian mob that killed Yusef Hawkins. And he told Ebro that 18 years ago. So we're going to go into all that. We're going to go into this whole Hot 97 cover-up and why Hot 97 needs to be canceled. And when I say Hot 97 needs to be canceled, I'm not talking about just because of this incident. It's because of, decades of puppeteering black culture and exploiting it and pushing it into the B's and H's, direction and negative language and things like that, right? Because since the early 90s, everybody remembers, 1991, it was all, Africa medallions and Malcolm X t-shirts. And, I was like a teenager at that point, or no, a preteen at that point. And, then we saw the whole industry just take a left and go gangster, jiggy, disrespecting black women for the past 30 years, ever since Hot 97 came out. So you might think like, maybe there's some type of correlation between the advent of Hot 97 and the degradation of the black woman in hip hop music and the degradation of black culture in hip hop music, bringing the culture lower to just debauchery and things like that. Because if you look at other groups of people, whether they're Asian or Indian or South American, Mexican, you don't see people exploiting their women on the radio during, when children are listening during, school hours. You don't hear that. You don't see that in general. You might see some fringe punk or death metal groups doing some crazy stuff or whatever, but you don't see that. And so we're going to be going into that. So now we're going to be using, this is an investigation that's going to be using purely, firsthand counts, YouTube footage, things like that. So now we're going to start off. All right, so I'm going to flip over here. So this is what this is about today. So we're going to flip it around. This is Yusef Hawkins. So this is a brother that was, chilling in Brooklyn, and he was murdered by a mob of Caucasian Italian Americans, and they mistook him for somebody else. They thought, there's this another black dude was dating a Caucasian woman, a Italian woman from their neighborhood, so they thought this was him. So they went and made a lynch mob, and they killed him. They beat him down. They shot him. All right, so we're going to go into this, and we're going to go into the background behind why Hot 97 knew about this, and they hid it until a recent video on HBO, an HBO documentary came out. It just came out. So I'm going to read this real quick. We're going to start off. This is like a daily news article. This is a very New York outlet. So New York City radio station Hot 97 ousted a longtime staffer after his role in the racially fueled 1989 murder of Yusef Hawkins in Brooklyn, were highlighted in a new HBO documentary. The popular hip-hop station booted Paddy Duke, Raucci, a commercial production director, after the airing of the doc. All right. So this guy, I'm going to click to this photo over here. I got a photo over here with him with the Oscar. Look at that. This fool has an Oscar. So in 1994, they hired this guy. This is about the time that like Ed Lover and Dr. Dre were on the air and stuff like that. And Ed Lover says he had no idea about all this, but all you had to do was look at the newspaper. It wasn't like he was one of the, because there was a mob of people. So it was a mob of people that killed Yusef. and then there was a core group of like about 4 or 5, maybe 5 people that were all arrested, and he was of that core group of people. So it's not like he was, just hanging with homies and some of his homies did that. It was like, no, he was actually there in the core, in the center of him being beaten down and then being killed. So, we're going to go in depth in this about how Hot 97 covered this up and how Hot 97 needs to be canceled. And like I was saying before, Hot 97 needs to be canceled on the grounds of the fact that they've been puppeteering black music for decades. They've been pushing black music into the debauchery direction for decades. You don't see that with any other group of people. You don't see a black-owned station, making klezmer music that's derogatory, towards, Jewish women or anything like that, or Jewish men, or making fun of any type of culture. Even with the Italian gangster, Frank Sinatra type of music from a century ago, half a century ago, from a long time ago, you don't even see that you don't see radio stations like trying to, push like, hey, this is this Italian American gangster music. You don't see that. Only black people, the same people that were enslaved for hundreds of years by Caucasian people during the slavery wars, we're the same group that's being, targeted like this. So it's nonstop targeting. So this is why Hot 97 needs to be canceled, and we're going to prove it. So this fool right here, this guy, you see him with the Oscar right here. So he was part of a mob that murdered this poor gentleman right here. All right, and I'm gonna read this article. So according to 7 confirmed reports, New York-based radio station Hot 97 has terminated one of its longtime employees after it was revealed that he played a role in the death of 16-year-old Yusef Hawkins. So this was a child. That's another important thing to note. This wasn't, oh, he killed some man. He killed a child. You're under 18, you're a child. He was a teen. He's still a child. And so, I'm sure a lot of people turn in their applications, and a lot of people have their applications to Hot 97, trying to apply for whatever his job is. He's like in production, and we see him with an Oscar, right? So it's like, why is a hip hop radio station, why would they hire somebody that just killed a black man a couple of years before that? Why would they hire that? And how would they not know when his name is in all the papers? And this is also another way you can prove that Hot 97 knew, is that if you do a Google search, so like I'll flip it around. Now, if you do a Google search right here, I made the criteria of the search from January 1st, 2000 to January 1st, 2020, right? And you type the guy's name as Pasquale Raucci, and you see there's millions of articles. There's no way these fools could not have known, right? You could have searched in all of these years and found out about it, right? 2016 we have here, right? 2003. I'm seeing all different types of dates. For decades and decades, people have known. Look, 2018, right? All right. So we're gonna start playing some video, and this is just to give some background about how racist Hot 97 is, right? Like I was saying before, Hot 97 has been one of the key radio stations in puppeteering hip hop and manipulating it and making black people look silly in hip hop culture, right? And we're going to see who owns Hot 97. We're going to click over here. All right, so let me go to here. All right, so WQHT. All right, so this is all information. This is an investigation. So WQHT owns Hot 97. All right, so we're going to read this. WQHT 97.1 FM. Hot 97 is a commercial radio station licensed to New York City, which broadcasts an urban contemporary format. The station is owned by Media Co. Holding and operating by Emmis Communications under a shared services agreement. WQHT studios are located in the Hudson Square neighborhood of Lower Manhattan, and its transmitter is located at the Empire State Building. So when I play all this stuff, just remember this is all transmitted from the Empire State Building, just to put it in context. All right. So now I'm going to show you, how some examples of how this is how racist Rosenberg is, right? These are examples of Rosenberg and racism. All right. So I'm going to press play. And they have a show on Hot 97 called It's called Everyday Racism. They used to have this show. This is before Everyday Struggle. I don't know if there's a connection. I don't know if Complex Magazine purposely started, Everyday Struggle as like a response to Everyday Racism or something. Because in this show, Everyday Racism, they talk about, issues dealing with racism, but Rosenberg kind of takes like the kind of he drops a lot of bigoted things, during these things. During these episodes, So basically, I'm gonna press play.
Well, no. I am wearing a blackface costume to our party.
Whoa!
No.
Whoa!
Do it. I'm dressing up as Arnold from Different Strokes.
Whoa!
It's gonna be amazing. Yes. I think you guys are really gonna like it. It's not gonna be what you think. It's new. It's the new 21st century blackface. This isn't your grandparents' blackface.
All right, that's Hot 97, broadcasted from the Empire State Building. So you say he's gonna wear blackface, because the thing is like people could say, oh, he's joking. He's being facetious. He's joking. He's not racist. But the thing is like the thing about radio stations is that people are always tuning in at random points. So you got to take into consideration and take into account that maybe some 10-year-old from New Jersey is tuning in right at that point, and they're like, oh, okay. They're listening and they're like, yeah, blackface is cool. Rosenberg just okayed it. All right. So we're gonna flip back and go to the next example. All right. So picking Cotton Field Trip, Everyday Racism, Hot 97. All right, I'm going to press play.
Funding for black colleges in the United States is a big topic. It's a big topic amongst people who were alums of those schools that don't donate, don't give back, as well as just the idea of black colleges and that funding. And it is very sad. It is very sad because these were the higher education schools that we got to go to when we weren't accepted.
So they're talking about black colleges, right?
Into other schools.
They're talking about HBCUs because there was a HBCU that was having low funding, and I believe they there was mold growing in some of the school equipment. So that's what they were talking about black colleges and funding. So watch this. So this is exposing Hot 97 being a racist institution that's puppeteering the black community.
Is it an out-of-date concept at this point, though?
I think that's part of the problem.
Like, if you're a smart black kid who grows up, like, don't you just want to go to college? Do you think, like, I want to go to a black college? Don't you just think, I want to go to college? Right. I don't want to just hang out with black people.
Some people want the experience. They still watch A Different World on repeat.
Okay, you know what?
No, but some people do. Some people just want that black college fraternity,
Okay, so we just heard Rosenberg say, why do we need black colleges? Why do we need HBCUs? Just go to college, regular college. We're past that. We don't need that. And so I'm going to type in the word yeshiva because he doesn't say that about yeshivas. Yeshivas are schools that are all around the world that are Jewish institutions that teach religion as well as just like a Catholic school that they teach religion as well as education. So we have Rosenberg on video dissing HBCUs when obviously he's coming from a culture that cares about his heritage and through yeshivas, and they promote their heritage through yeshivas, which is is a positive thing to embrace your own heritage, right? So he's dissing embracing your own heritage. We have him on film doing that. So this is just breaking down how Hot 97 is run by just a bunch of racists that are puppeteering the industry, right? So these guys pretty much run a lot of hip hop. Obviously, the South has come up now, but they run a lot of stuff.
I think to Rosenberg's point, most young people now they just want a college experience.
Right.
They want a broader experience and not just a quote unquote black college.
But I think Shawnee's right too. I think there are some people who crave that, but yeah, I think more often than not, people are just like, I just want to. You're saying I can't bang white chicks at this college? Not going.
No wonder they're.
All right, so that's Rosenberg. You see Rosenberg. Now, I'm not even going to play this. I'm probably going to end off with that one. This one is that's too crazy. Now we're going to talk about the N-word and Rosenberg and all this stuff. So in this section right here, this sister, and this is another quote, not a quote, but another point I'm going to make about Hot 97. If you notice Hot 97, they never have black women hosts with natural black hair. They're promoting assimilation. They're promoting perms and weaves and lace fronts and wigs and assimilating. They're promoting they're puppeteering black culture, and they're creating this paradigm that we're gonna have like these light-skinned hosts and we're just gonna have occasionally we'll have a black woman, but they'll never have a black woman that's like got locks or braids or something like that. They're always and they're always kind of silent in the black back, and you see the darker skinned people before they added Charlemagne, and we'll talk about that. Shout out Luis Ramos, shout out everybody in the house. So I'm gonna wave at everybody. But yeah, so they never have black women hosts that have natural hair, and this is a black urban thing, and that's the thing, is they're perpetuating things that help white supremacy, right? Because you could say that, oh, this is just part of black culture. Perms are part of black culture, this and that. Yeah, obviously it is part of black culture. And they can make the argument that, hey, they're just hiring people that are applying and hiring people, but I'm sure some black women with natural hair applied. So let's look back at this video. They're talking about the N-word and Quinton Tarantino's use of it. So this is just laying the foundation. Shout out Nick Diablo. Shout out to everybody coming in the room. So yeah, this is about Yusef Hawkins and him being murdered by a mob of Italian Americans, and Paddy Duke was one of those Italian Americans that was in that mob, in the core group of people that actually killed him and were actually jailed, because they didn't jail everybody. There was a large group of people, so there was protests over this for years and stuff, and Al Sharpton got stabbed. It's like, this is a really big case that affected New York City. So why would the #1 hip hop station in New York, hire somebody, hire a white supremacist, person that literally killed a white supremacist murderer that was in a part of a mob lynching violence? He was lynched, and they lynched a child. He was 16 years old. So for people that don't know who Yusef Hawkins is, I'll show the picture again. Yusef Hawkins is this young man right here that was lynched by a group of Italian American white supremacists, in the early 90s. I think it was like 91 or something like that. Oh no, 1989. Okay, the late 80s. It happened in 89. So it happened in 89, and then 5 years later, Hot 97 employs this fool right here. Where's the picture? Let's see. Right here, this fool right here with the Oscar in his hand. You see he's got an Oscar right there. Right? All right, so we're going to go back to where we were. So this is about Quinton Tarantino and the N-word.
Listen, he was talking about the N-word during a press conference and actually used the N-word. Listen.
If somebody is out there actually saying it when it comes to the word nigger, that the fact that I was using it in the movie more than it was used back in the antebellum South, in Mississippi, in 1858. Well, then they might have then feel free to make that case. But no one's like...
Okay, so I'm not going to let Tarantino play anymore. But so she was... this sister, I don't even know her name, but this host that was on Hot 97 at the time, she was calling out the fact that, like, yo, he could have just said the N-word. Like how I'm speaking about it now. I'm not... I'm not saying the actual word. I'm just saying N-word. We know what it is. The B word, the H word, whatever. And he could have just said the N-word, but he, obviously likes saying it, and he likes writing it in his scripts. Spike Lee called him out. So let's see what Ebro has to say about that. Not Ebro, I'm sorry, Rosenberg. We're going to look at what Rosenberg has to say about that. So we're going to skip a little ahead. I have it saved right here. So this is a episode with another sellout named A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky, is known for telling black women, dark-skinned black women. A$AP Rocky is a known kind of colorist, right? He's a known kind of what do you call it? He's kind of like he's like, hey, I'm just in the fashion world, and I don't care about politics and this and that, which is fine. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions, and everybody doesn't have to be political or be a public enemy or whatever, especially with the content of the of what they're rapping about. But the fact that he's dissing black women and he's adding to the puppeteering of the black community through pushing black community towards debauchery, like even he's like, it ain't safe, even just creating fear and, raising your blood pressure on a daily basis. Because, you might got somebody, they just ate a big giant, salty steak, and they're riding in their car, and then they hear it ain't safe, and maybe they have some stresses in their life. They just got arrested for some police brutality and this and that, and they have a heart attack, and they're playing it ain't safe. Because if you play this is called neuro-linguistic programming. If you play something and say if you play something that's fear-based and you just keep playing it over and over, it's going to raise people's blood pressure. It's going to actually create a state of fear in their mind, either whether it's in the back of their head, they're unconscious, or they're conscious. So let's get back to this. Yusef Hawkins is also known for saying that black women, dark-skinned women shouldn't wear red lipstick. So he's just he's a tweak, and I'm not afraid to diss Yusef Hawkins or that whole crew, right? Because it's like it ain't safe, hit it 2 times and or whatever, it's like he's just degrading black women as into pieces of meat or whatever, So we're gonna go into the context of this. So let's see what Rosenberg has to say about about Quinton Tarantino saying the N-word.
You think that a grown man, an artiste, a world-renowned artist, when asked a question, should go, well, the N-word, and not say the word? You think a grown man...
Yes, exactly. She said yes, I say yes. Yeah, he should have said the N-word. Or, especially it's a press conference, and you got a bunch of journalists from around the world, filming you and recording you. There's no reason we know what the N-word is.
Should not be able to share the word.
Yes, because he knows black people. He knows how we are. He knows how sensitive we are about the word. That's why it's such a big issue now. He could have edited himself, just like you edit yourself every single day.
You definitely got the pass from RZA, Jamie Foxx, Kerry Washington, Samuel L. Jackson.
They're brainwashed. They just want that Hollywood money.
And she's right. She's talking about that Hollywood money, right? Hollywood money. Everybody keeps silent because they don't want to offend the people that higher ups. And if all the higher ups are racist, that means it trickles down. Racism is more of a trickle down thing, where it's like the people at the top, they're constantly disseminating this propaganda. And let's see what Aesop has to say about it, right? He coons out. Watch what he says.
Oh, yes. They are.
That's racist.
I don't want no Hollywood money, man. I just feel like what's right is right, man. I say cracker sometimes.
See?
So he says he doesn't want any Hollywood money, but, what's his first big Hollywood movie? Anybody know? His first Hollywood movie, right? Dope. He's selling dope, right? Continually perpetuating, the same, drug dealer tropes and things like that, even though all the drugs are being brought in by Caucasian people that run all the drug rings that are bringing all the shipments in. We have all types of, evidence and proof of even, political people, bringing in cocaine and things like that into America, right? And then it trickles into the black communities, right? And then they turn into crack. All right, so let's flip it back around. So we just heard Rosenberg to wrap up just this section of this lecture. We've seen that on multiple occasions Rosenberg being a bigot, right? So let's see what his view of hip hop culture. We're going to go to a beef he had with LL Cool J, and let's see what he had to say about LL Cool J. All right, so I'm going to click over here. All right, so I'm going to press play. Let's see. Oh, before I do that, let me go to the Doja Cat thing. This isn't about Doja Cat, but this is about something they said in front of Doja Cat. All right, so I'm going to press play.
But I feel like I connect with this. So.
Well, she's saying she feels like she connects with Hot 97, this interview format, more than some other places she's been.
Because your mom's Jewish, my mom's Jewish, his mom's Jewish.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the hybrid thing, right?
That's why we like each other.
Yeah.
What did you say when she first walked in?
I said, I just found out that you were Jewish a few minutes ago.
No, but you said something. You called her something.
And I said, well, I support you now. It's Juminati.
Juminati.
All right. I didn't say that. They said it. They said it for themselves. I didn't say none of that. They said it for themselves. I didn't say none of that. We're gonna look at that. Let's see. This is we're gonna read this again. So WQHT. That's Hot 97, right? All right. So we're gonna look at the history of it. All right. So the history. All right. So let's see. And let's see. So let's click on Emmis Communications, because Emmis Communications is operated by Emmis Communications, right? So Emmis Communications is an American conglomerate based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Emmis is based on the Hebrew word for truth. Emmis Communications is based on the Hebrew word for truth, founded by Jeff Smulyan in 1980. So this is based on the Hebrew word for truth. Okay, right? So I didn't say none of this. You heard them say that. That was Rosenberg that said it. So let's see what Rosenberg has to say. We're going to see what Rosenberg has to say. Shout out to everybody that's coming in the house, waving at everybody. Mr. Younger's in the house. So now we're going to flip back to his diss of LL and see what he says in his diss of LL. So we're going to flip it. All right, so this is at Rosenberg. So this is establishing the fact that Hot 97 is a racist institution that's known about Yusef Hawkins. Known about the fact that Paddy Duke murdered Yusef Hawkins. One of their employees, they hired a white supremacist employee named Paddy Duke in 1994, and they knew about it this whole time. And we'll show Ebro even admit that Paddy Duke told him 18 years ago. All right.
You don't want it, and matter of fact, I hope you want it, then you flaunt it. I'ma put my big white in your face, and I hope you suck it and see how it tastes. What?
Right? So boom. Y'all just saw that. So he just said, I'm not even gonna repeat what he said, but what he said when he said, I'm gonna put my big white in your face, the fact that that has a very, very strong racial overtone. I can't even say undertone. That's the actual racial overtone that he's saying that. So let's see what else he says to LL Cool J. We're gonna rewind this. We're gonna rewind it back a little bit and see what he does. And this is what I'm talking about as far as debauchery and racist European Americans puppeteering hip hop and pushing it in the direction of debauchery consciously. And even this is from his own words. Watch what he says out of his mouth. Remember, children are listening to this show, and you can see this is also a form of grooming. What you're going to hear, like when all the Odd Future stuff, all the Tyler the Creator kind of audience. This is kind of a precursor to all that, because this is from 2014, right? And all right, so we're gonna press play.
Oh, that got weird, I guess. Me hat that it that. Right. I'm coming at you, LL Cool J. You wanna see me? I doubt that. Matter of fact, I'm about to slap that ass. It's nothing to me like that. I come for you, then I grab off your hat. You Jimmy hat, that is. And I'm gonna feel that jizz. What? Oh, that got weird, I guess. Let me just rub on that man breast. Whoa! It's so simple to with you. You know why? I kinda like you. Cause you kinda cute and soft in the middle. I wanna touch you and play you like a fiddle. Oh, Rosenberg.
Y'all supposed to have beef, not a love.
Oh, my bad. I keep getting confused. Hold on. I remember masturbating to the Doing It video.
So they're literally tarnishing hip hop. They're literally like, this is just funny. I'm not against comedy. Comedy's funny. People should be able to make jokes about whatever they want to make a joke about. But what I'm proving here is that Hot 97 is needs to be canceled because they're a predatory institution that's not owned or run by black people. It's owned by people that are clearly being racist, and it's puppeteering the black community and pushing young black girls, young black boys, young Puerto Rican girls, young Puerto Rican boys, young Mexican girls, Mexican boys into in urban communities, is pushing them into the direction of debauchery and thinking like, hey, like the movie Cuties, all that stuff coming out, like, hey, yeah, twerking is a part of black culture, twerking, black people twerk and Jewish people make matzo balls, right? Like people are making it like it's just some normal thing, and not that it's actually puppeteering of black culture. But this is clearly puppeteering of black culture. This is clearly the tarnishing of black culture while they're monetizing it. They're monetizing black culture while degrading it and bringing it down to a baser level, the lowest chakras, the sexual chakras, that they're taking it to the lowest level. So let's see what more he has to say.
Rosenberg comes to LL like bees to honey. Don't try to see me, I'll take your money. Take your bitch, it ain't even funny. Don't try to with the kid, Dunny. you might be from Queens.
And then that's another thing. Him saying the B word, the degradation of black women. You know, they're constantly promoting the B word. They're constantly promoting. You don't hear that in any other culture. You can turn on the radio station, and the thing is about this isn't about just canceling them. We're going to sue them as well. That we have grounds to sue them. I just had 2 cousins that just got smoked in the back of their heads. I had one cousin, he was like 19. He had like a baby that was a year old. And, you know, he was in the blood gang, and he's, you know, and they're promoting blood gang culture on Hot 97 radio. We're going to sue them. We're coming at y'all. Rosenberg, we're going to sue y'all eventually. Ebro, we're figuring out ways. We're going to sue y'all for causing, harming the black community through, you know, psychological negligence, as well as, you know, promoting grooming gang culture, teaching kids how to be gang members. You know, all the top people are blood gang, and you know, like Pop Smoke just got murdered, right? Crips getting murdered, Bloods getting murdered, right? Cardi B's a blood gang member, talking about drugging people and having trans people rape them. And, you know, we got Nicki's blood, right? And I don't know what Megan Thee Stallion is, but she obviously clearly just got initiated into something, because Tori's not in jail. Why didn't she, I feel for her. I think it's really messed up she got shot, but it seems more like an initiation thing. But that's another lecture. I'm not even going to talk about that. But what I'm generally talking about is they're pushing gang culture, and they can be sued for that, because if a radio station in 1945 was trying to, focus on Italian gang culture in Chicago and New York, and they were just constantly playing Italian gang stuff on the radio, Italian Americans would have been like, hey, what are y'all doing? Like, yeah, we love Frank Sinatra, we love Blue Eyes, but, you know, these songs that are dissing Italian women and dissing, and promoting Italian gang culture, you know, people would object to that, because a lot of the kids see music as real, you know, music and you know, you can say it's just like a genre, and this is just them playing like, you know, like it's just a gangster genre, and it's just like HBO. But if you take HBO's not playing, you know, people, really extreme things during the regular daytime hours. You know, I'm not against gangster music. I think that it just should be, put into later after hours types of things, just like HBO or Cinemax or anything does. You know, if somebody's talking about catching bodies in their song, right? That's not a curse word. You can be like, hey, I caught 50 bodies. And that's not a curse word. So that can be on the regular radio. They don't bleep out, I caught 50 bodies, you know, and I, you know, or whatever, you know, they don't cut that stuff out. But, you know, in the future, 5 years from now, that's going to be dead, because we're coming at y'all Hot 97. We're going to be creating lawsuits. You know, we're coming for y'all, you know, because this is really, really messed up what y'all doing to the black community. Y'all been doing this for decades. And we're going to prove in this lecture that they knew about Yusef Hawkins, right? Ebro himself said from his own lips that 18 years ago, Paddy Duke told him that he was involved in that murder, but he told him he was innocent, even though he was there. So it's like, if you're there and somebody and you're part of a mob that kills somebody, you're part of that. You know, you're part of that. You know, why would they hire somebody like that? Why would they give him why did he get an Oscar, right? So the people that are just coming in, this is the guy. This is who we're talking about. We're gonna flip back. This is Paddy Duke, an Italian American who murdered this young man who's not even a young man. I'm gonna say a child. You know, he was 16. He murdered a 16-year-old child. And back to what I was saying before, you know, I just had 2 relatives that were smoked. You know, I just had 2. You know, one was like 19. That was like 2 years ago. Cousin, and then another cousin. You know, he was just sitting in his car, and you know, in Mississippi, and a cat just, you know, smoked. A cat he knew that was friends of his family, local cat smoked him in the back of the head, and then that same guy that's in jail now that smoked him, he if you asked him what his favorite songs were, he's probably gonna be like, oh yeah, I like this cat. He's part of hip hop culture. Smoking people is part of hip hop culture now, right? And we're literally being affected by it. So that means they are Hot 97, and the FCC, a lot of these radio stations are legally culpable for creating, gang culture, promoting gang culture through music. Like if we, in the past, everybody knows Joe Camel. If anybody remembers Joe Camel, they were marketing cigarettes to kids, right? So the same thing. If we can cancel Joe Camel, we can cancel, gangster rap during, gangster anti-black woman rap during, school hours, right? If they do it at 8 o'clock, that's one thing, but still the degradation of black women becomes a problem too, as well, right? So let's go back. We're gonna flip back. All right. So once again, this is Yusef Hawkins, a murderer who has worked for Hot 97. We're exposing Hot 97's racism. We've been exposing Rosenberg's racism, as well as even we saw what they were saying. So let's play this up. Before I play some more of, let me play the rest of his disc. All right.
But you in Forest Hills. I'm out in the streets, riding the DeVille. It's nothing to me. Matter of fact, when I see you, I'ma rub on your knee. Oh, what does that mean? We don't know. I'll tell you one thing, you a pretty hoe. I'ma treat you like that, take you home, and then I'ma try to give you dome. Whoa, that isn't what I meant to say.
And look at they have a sister in the audience just sitting there like listening like okay, and she's like co-signing all this. She's not saying nothing because she's like, hey, this is my chance, I'm getting on.
Oh, wow, I guess these rhymes are getting gay, but that's cool, LL, you don't want it. And matter of fact, I hope you want it, then you flaunt it. I'ma put my big white in your face, and I hope you suck it and see how it tastes. What? Okay, sorry. All right, guys, I'm really sorry.
All right, right. So that's what I was saying. They're trying to equate hip hop culture with debauchery. And once again, for the people that don't know who owns Hot 97, this is who owns Hot 97. We're gonna go to Emmis. It's run by Emmis Communications, right? So Emmis, for the people that are just coming in, Emmis Communications is an American media conglomerate based in Indianapolis, Indiana. Emmis is based on the Hebrew word for truth, right? So was he spitting truth, right? Was founded by Jeff Smillian in 1980. Emmis has owned many radio stations, including KPWR, KWHT, yada yada. And the thing is that out of all these radio stations, do the other radio stations have stuff like this content where they're constantly talking about killing and murder and just nasty stuff like he was just saying? It's just like I don't think so. I've never heard the radio. I listen to the radio a bunch all over the country. I'll be flipping the station and I don't hear Mexican negativity. I don't hear Caucasian negativity, Indian, Asian, all the people that live in America. I don't hear any negativity except black negativity. And, since we don't own these stations, it's not coming from us. It's coming from them, right? And at Cardi B too, Cardi, you're saying, well, people don't be listening to it. People don't be listening, but people do. People listen to all types of stuff. It's just that they're paying, people like Cardi, and they're paying people to turn. They want to turn black people, not turn because they've been doing it. They want to keep black people as like a stripper, worker caste, because there's a caste system, right? And everybody check out, it's a bestseller book about the caste system now. The modern caste system is, I think it's like maybe number 2. I forget her name, but a black woman, she wrote this book. It might be just called Caste. Y'all should check that out. But yeah, we have a clear caste system in the society, right? And Rosenberg is part of the master caste, right? And that's part of what Wiley was talking about, right? And we saw Rosenberg himself say what Wiley was talking about, but I'm not going to say it because I'm not trying to get canceled. But, we saw Rosenberg say it out of his own mouth, right? Okay. So now let's click back to here. So let's go to, we did the Tarantino thing. We did the Aesop thing. All right, now I'm going to play this. So this is Rosenberg being racist again. And this is about him being racist about black names, black people's names. And this is, everybody knows this guy, or not everybody, for who doesn't know this guy. I think this is that Cypher Sounds? But let's play.
What's your sister's name again? Taiwanda.
And then her idea was to name her little sister Jessica.
I like that.
So they're making fun of black women. They're making fun of black names. It's like my wife has like a black name that's a new name. People are dissing people. Like, hey, you should just take on a European slave name or European traditional name or traditional name out of the Bible or whatever. And they're dissing, they're making fun of black women that make names that name their children unique and creative names,
She saved her little sister from
She saved?
That's racist.
Wait, hold on, is that really racist? No, Taiwanda. Regardless of race, you don't want to be named Taiwanda.
That's racist.
No, it's not.
That's racist.
Is Taiwanda a cultural black name? It's like the name of one of the kings and queens was Taiwan, the great queen Taiwanda.
That's racist.
She saved him, man.
Is that a common name, Taiwanda?
Who knows?
Like, I like
So this is Rosenberg being super racist, right? We just saw that's super racist for him to just be like kind of jonesing on black women's names. You know, it's like it's one thing if a black comedian does that, just like if a Jewish comedian talks about the Jewish community, you know, they're allowed to say, you know, JAP or whatever like that. But, you know, if a, you know, somebody from outside that culture says that, you know, we're not allowed to say those things, right? Because then it's like, oh, okay, that's anti-Semitic. So we can see here that Rosenberg is clearly a racist, right? And that Hot 97, you know, this is going to go deeper and deeper. So let's keep playing this.
But who are you to comment?
I like the name Wanda, and I love Thai food. Taiwanda.
Now Rosenberg has a racist story. Racism against Rosenberg.
Well, yesterday I was at the Yankees game, and this guy, nice guy in front of me, he's like, yo, man, I listen all the time, man. I love hip-hop, man. Love that hip-hop. You rep that, man.
What is it?
He was one of those hip-hop dudes. Like, he was really into hip-hop. Man, you talk that real, Rosenberg. Yeah, listen, man. I want to just dap you up like 6 or 9 times.
Yo, sir.
And just tell you, man, like, you surprised me with that hip-hop.
So imagine if everything was reversed and a black host was making fun of Jewish names and putting on like a Yiddish accent. What would happen? Can somebody raise their hand? Can somebody tell me what would happen if a black radio host was doing that, right? People would come at them, right? But he's, you know, obviously he's in control. He's part of the master caste. You know, he's a master in this society, right? Okay, so we're gonna go back and keep playing.
You surprised me. I was like, well, hold on.
All right, so I'm gonna play another one. Let's see. I think I have another one here. Yeah, this is another one. Yeah. No, this is this is what we're gonna get into next. But there's another one. Let's see. Okay, this is the one I think.
Bus stop was right in front of a store, and I guess the store had reported that teenagers have been, hanging out.
Okay, so this is a story about some teenagers, black teenagers that were waiting for their school bus at the bus stop, and they got arrested for like loitering on the corner of the sidewalk or something like that. You know.
So wait.
Acting crazy.
Ralik, Daquan, and Wantaja.
That's racist.
They must be black.
Yes.
That's racist.
We were just talking about names. This is a coincidence. Raleigh.
That's fine. 2 syllables.
I mean, it's 2 syllables, but let's be clear.
And also, they're using, you know, I'm from Milwaukee. They're using Arrested Development's, you know, shout out to Speech, you know, very positive rapper. You know, there was a positive rap movement that was actually happening. You know, they're peaceful. They're like talking about playing horseshoes and real positive, fun stuff. And, you know, that was a top pop hit. There's no reason hip hop can't be positive and still be on the radio. Because Cardi will try to be like, oh, yeah, people aren't feeling it. But, you know, people like music. You know, it doesn't have to be all debauchery all day, you know. And so we can see that, you know, Hot 97 is clearly puppeteering the black community, and we need to cancel them and we need to sue them. Right. All right. So we're going to flip back. Oh, yo, shout out. We got Mark de Guzman in the house. So we're basically exposing Hot 97 and, you know, exposing all the racist things that they've done. And right now we're in a section where Rosenberg is actually, you know, dissing black people's names. Like when black people make like creative names that aren't in the Bible or school textbooks or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or it's not in the Quran or the Torah, like names that are, you know, unique new names, right? They're dissing it and, you know, dissing black culture, right? While profiting from black culture, right? So that's the, you know, that strange dichotomy, you know, of white supremacy is where, you know, you had slave masters that were, you know, they're having babies with the people that they're enslaving. So it's like a cycle of you know, colonial capitalism, you know, master slave, you know, master goy, right? All right, so I'm gonna press play.
The name is generally like there's Malik or like Talik. Raj, they made that up.
These 3 young boys were at a bus stop. Focus.
Oh. Wait, I'm trying to find it.
We won't focus on their names.
Yeah, Ralik is cool. Ralik is righteous.
Is it?
Guantanamo is a little different.
Guantanamo.
No, his name is Juan Tajida.
Guantanamo.
It's spelled W-A-N apostrophe capital T. A-U-H-J-S.
Ralik is cool. Ralik is cool.
What about
So Rosenberg's making fun of Spanish people, Spanish-speaking people, because Spanish is just a language, not a group of people.
Daquan.
Daquan is righteous too, but Guantanamo.
That's not his name.
Wait, there's that's basically it. You know, they're just making fun of all that. So now we're going to go to the actual thing. This is the meat. You know, we just had the potatoes. Now we're going to eat the meat. We're going to go into the next section. All right, so we're going to go. Let's run this one back though. This Doja Cat one. We're just going to run it back for people that just came in.
I said I just found out that you were Jewish a few minutes ago.
First walked in, and it doesn't feel like, but I feel like I connect with this. So.
We'll see. I'm going to go back a little bit.
What's up, Paddy? And it doesn't feel like, but I feel like I connect with this. So.
Well, that's because your mom's Jewish, my mom's Jewish, his mom's Jewish.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the hybrid
That's why
thing,
we
right?
like each other.
Yeah.
What did you say when she first walked in?
I said I just found out that you were Jewish a few minutes
No,
ago.
but you said something. You
And
called
I-
her something.
And I said, well, I support you now. It's Jumanati.
Jumanati.
Yo, by the way, the comment.
All right, I didn't say it, but Wiley said it. I'm not saying it. You're never gonna catch me saying that. But they said it themselves, right? They said it themselves. The proof is in the pudding. Now, let's see. And what I'm talking about is what Wiley was talking about. I think that Wiley's, words could have been, a lot more eloquent. But the thing is that, and he forwarded some stuff that, I wouldn't agree with. But I do agree with the fact what Chris Rock says. And Chris Rock says is like, he says, black people don't hate Jewish people specifically. He's saying that, black people have a problem with Caucasian, the slave master race, right? Because right now white doesn't exist. There's no such thing as white. To end white supremacy, we have to stop calling people white. I don't say like, oh, she's white or he's white. I'm like, he's a European American, Caucasian American, whatever you want to say. Once we strip them of that term white, that's one of the ways that we have to end white supremacy. So, what Wiley was talking about is white control, the white caste control of black culture. And of the white caste that controls black culture, some of them are of the three major Abrahamic religions. If we go to the Middle East, it's, Muslim people that are being racist against the black lower caste, like the Dalits. We're like basically the new Dalits, the untouchable caste. And if you come to America or Europe, it's generally, the other two Abrahamic religions, right? Okay. And I'm not going to say the names, but, so I'm going to flip back. Okay. So let's see. So we're going to go back. We're going to, play this. Oh, whoops. Let's see. This is the Doja Cat one. All right. So let's see.
I knew it.
Whoops. No, I was trying to play this. Now, so we're going to go to the actual thing. So we're getting to the meat of this now. We're going to go through this whole thing. So this is Ebro. This is August 24th, 2020, 30,000 views already. It's probably even more. I'm going to refresh it to see where it's at now. Oh, it's at 31,000 views. Okay. So let me, all right. So we're going to watch this.
About the Yusef. Ebro in the morning. We've been mentioning it all morning that and if you don't know, you're about to know, there's a documentary on Netflix about the Yusef Hawkins murder. And it came out about a week ago?
Yes, it's called A Storm Over Brooklyn on HBO Max.
So we encourage you all to go. Oh, I keep saying Netflix. It takes.
So Hot 97. So they've known from the beginning. They didn't do a background check on their employee that got an Oscar that murdered a black person. I'm sorry, that was in a mob that murdered a black person, and he was one of the core people. So Paddy, this is for the people that are just coming in. This is a lecture about Paddy Duke, and I'm going to show a picture. This is Paddy Duke. You see this Oscar right in his hand. That's Paddy Duke, and he murdered or I don't even know, is that a Grammy, Oscar? I forget. But he murdered this young man right here. He was 16 years old, Yusef Hawkins, and he actually murdered him with a group of people. And he was acquitted on some charges, but some charges he wasn't, right? But he was there, and he was part of the murder. So for those that don't know, I'm gonna read a little bit more in depth about what exactly happened to Yusef. So let's see. What happened. Okay, so let's see what happened. I'm gonna click to another source actually. So yeah, this is Daily News. All right, now let's see. The firing generated, so they fired him just like yesterday or this weekend. The firing generated a swirl of reaction within the station as well as without, with some questioning of how the staff could not have been aware of Raucci's past. And I just proved earlier, I proved that if you do a Google search from January 1st, 2000 to January 1st, 2020, before this whole controversy, you can find all the information in the world that you need about, about him killing the person. They could have done a background check. They could have figured it out. All right, so we're gonna go back to here, and we're gonna press play. Let's see. All right, we're gonna go back. All right, so we're at this one right here. This is the actual story now. All right, so this is the one. Okay, here we go.
HBO Max, my bad.
So they only fired him after this documentary came out on HBO that exposes them. Right? They only came out when they got exposed. They knew he was, Ebro says himself, he knew for at least 18 years, right? So for 18 years, they've been knowing that, that they've been dealing with a white supremacist that, murdered a black youth. So, and the question is, if this is a black radio station, why would they hire an Italian American that was in the newspaper for murdering a black 16-year-old? Why would they do that? Because they're puppeteering the black community and, pushing violence and debauchery and all that, and nepotism, cronyism. There's probably an Italian American that works at Hot 97 that put him on, that saw his, we don't know who was in the HR department at the time, but I'm going to, see if we can find that. If you know who was in the HR department, please leave that in the comments, right? So Hot 97, Ebro, Rosenberg, we're coming for y'all. Y'all are getting canceled, and y'all are getting canceled for puppeteering the black community. Just pushing all this gangster stuff forever. We're tired of it. People are dying. I just told you I had 2 cousins that just got killed in the past 2 years because of gun violence. Right. One of them, it was right after his birthday. Right. And the other one, it was on Father's Day. My newest cousin that just got murdered. He was like, he was in college, like early 20s, and he got shot in the back of the head. Both of my cousins got shot in the head, and both of the people that shot them are listeners of current, hip hop music, and it really is affecting the people, because all that stuff like, oh, it's just fiction. It's the parents should be able to, teach the discretion and all that stuff. That's BS, because Indian parents don't have to worry about their children being groomed into dissing Indian women and robbing people over Indian music and stuff like that. Asian people don't have to deal with that. Caucasian people don't have to deal with that. Hebrew people don't have to deal with that, right? All right, so we're going to flip back around. Go to this.
HBO Max. Paddy Duke, who has worked at Hot 97.
And they're going to have the nerve to play Lauryn Hill in the background. Like I was saying before, they had the nerve to play Speech to make a show, like say racist stuff over, over positive hip hop. Another person, Lauryn Hill, is positive hip hop, and they're playing her music in the back. Okay. And they're talking about how they have no idea that they were homies and hired a actual murderer, a white supremacist murderer.
7 for over 25 years. In the documentary, is brought in as one of the accomplices in the murder of Yusef Hawkins. Fam, when I tell you, when people saw that up here, we didn't know the documentary was coming.
And notice here too, they're still not saying his real name. They're keeping his name to being Paddy Duke, but his name is actually, we're going to go to his real name. His name is Pasquale Raucci, right? And notice how they're actually still protecting him. They're not putting his real name even in the title, right? So I'm gonna keep playing it.
Now, and B, when people saw it, it was like, what? In the world?
Shocking. I know when I saw it, I was like, what is happening?
Well, if you want to lift up the curtain completely, I remember the day we were sitting here because Shawnee said it was mentioned to him. Yeah. And then Shawnee texted us a clip and was like, did y'all see this? And all of us at the same time were like, oh my God! Yeah, I don't know if I was going to play the Homer Simpson drop, but yeah, we all did feel that way.
Wait, how are they like, Ebru says he knew about it for 18 years. So that's what I'm saying. They're lying. People there, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other, internet people exposing them, but, I got to expose them because this is a, hip hop academy and we're teaching rap sciences, things that can empower musicians. And another reason I'm doing these political topics is because let's say you're a black DJ and you're coming up and you're like, okay, well, I'm submitting my mixtapes here or, I'm trying to, link with this here and like, why is my career not taking off? Why is there this ceiling? Why is there this glass ceiling here? And I'm showing you that there are real glass ceilings because of the fact that you're a black DJ or you're a black rapper or you're a woman rapping or you're a woman that's black that's rapping, right? Because if you're a woman that's rapping in America and you're black, you have to say the B word in a song. Somebody show me a song on the radio with a black woman, on pop radio that's not saying like the B word. You have to say it. And the only women that aren't saying are the grime artists in the UK. If you go to you hear, a lot of the ill, that's why, for me, I only really check for a lot of the women rappers that are, coming out of the UK. To me, they're on a higher level than the women, a lot of the women rappers in the US, because all the women in the rappers in the US, they've been groomed by Hot 97 and all these people for decades and decades to where they think there's that, like, that's how you rap. You say I'm a bad B and I da or whatever, So let's flip back.
Oh wait, we were like, what the hell is this?
And so at that moment, behind the scenes, corporate started to go to work to figure out who knew what, when Paddy was hired, and what was going to be the response, because this wasn't going to just be allowed to fly.
Right.
No, it was allowed to fly. He worked there for like 30 years. 30 years. That's a long time. Or maybe 25 years or something like that. Maybe he worked there for, I don't know, but we're going to look at it. So that's a long time. They knew for a long time. They're acting like, we just found out because of HBO. It was in the paper. And the person that made the documentary just looked at the papers. They knew.
It's important to know, Ebro, how long he's been here. Like, he's probably one of the oldest people that have been in the building, older than anybody on the show.
Exactly.
Anybody that I know that's currently working, with the exception of one or two people at WBLS.
Yeah. Well, and
for those that are just tuning in, this is who they're talking about. This cat right here with the Grammy in his hand. I mean, a Oscar. Look at that, right? They said he's been there longer than anybody. So that means he's the OG of Hot 97. So the OG of Hot 97 is a white supremacist. And the fact that they're puppeteering the black community with debauchery is clearly, it clearly ties in, right? This is so we can see Hot 97 is a white supremacist friendly organization, and they only fired him because they got totally called out by a documentary. All right. And they're all trying to play stupid right now.
With that, the realization is that this couldn't just be swept under the rug, obviously, and so he's been fired.
It was swept under the rug for decades. They knew. This happened he killed him in 1989. They hired him in 1994, 5 years later.
He, for the last decade or more, has worked in the production department, doing commercials, recording, editing, making sure commercials hit the airwaves.
He's not a VP. He's not a crazy exec like people are making it out to be.
See, she's trying to, distance herself from, distance the brand from it. They're trying to distance Hot 97 from the fact that they knowingly employed a white supremacist murderer of a child.
And by the way,
and meanwhile, they're promoting children being murdered on the radio, right?
Everybody accusing us, how did you not know? First of all, he never used his real name.
His paychecks do not go to Paddy Duke. And notice how, once again, in the comments here, seeing there about, here in the description, there's no mention of his actual name. Even they don't even put his real name in there. All right.
We all know him as
But obviously his paychecks don't go to Paddy Duke.
Paddy Duke.
Laura.
I never even knew his real name.
People are going to be mad at us. They need to be mad at somebody.
Which is
yes, yeah, we're mad at y'all.
fine, but I just want to put
not just for this, but for everything y'all been doing.
some clarity now that we can talk about it, because we couldn't say anything. And now it's like,
and not mad, really tired. We're tired of it. We're and that's what's happening now. People are coming, fighting back, and we're coming for these radio stations. So we're gonna be coming for these. We're gonna be bringing lawsuits. I had 2 cousins that just got smoked.
Oh, we all. I know Cass One's real name because it's in his corporate email. But in all the emails that we use with Paddy, just say Paddy Duke. It never says.
Well, let me ask you this: since you're going there, even if you did know Paddy's name, what are you going to do? Run Googles on people, everybody that you work with?
Yes, that's called a background check. Stupid.
Oh, what their background?
Laura, you got here in 2000.
Yes, that's called HR. That's the HR department. Stupid. So it's like they hired a killer. They hired a murderer. Somebody that this guy murdered this guy, and it was on TV. It was in all the papers. In the early 90s, late 80s, it was in all the papers. It was one of the biggest stories. Yusef Hawkins murder is equivalent to like a George Floyd or any big person that's murdered in the media. This was a big story for the time, and this was before social media. So people were really out in the streets. People really protesting. Al Sharpton got stabbed. Like, it was serious. This was a real big a very, very big story. So why would they employ him, and why would he get these type of accolades, right? Why? Why would he get those type of accolades? All right. And so I'm going to, let me see. Let me pull up this thing. I'm going to flip back around into here, right? So we got this celebrity blackface chart. This is an older version before I was as far as I am now. Like, I got a lot of people in there. But we see that, racism in the entertainment world pays, right? This guy's, you got the MBE wars out of UK. UK is very racist, right? These guys, Ant and Dec, 40 million. They got 40 million. And I'm just showing different people with the wars, right? We got Bette Midler right there. So that Bette Midler with her award, right? Let me see if I can find some more with awards. Right? We got who is this? Look at this. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller with his multiple awards. I'm sure he has more awards than that, right? So all these people have, these are a lot of people with awards, right? We got Tracy Ullman. Look at that, Tracy Ullman with her award. So this is to establish the fact that the entertainment industry is super racist and controlled by white supremacists. And, and the proof is right here in the pudding, right? Look, we see all these different awards, right? We see David Walliams, right? He's got another MBE. That's like the highest honor you can get in the UK, right? And he's doing all these, racial stereotypes and stuff like that, all this racist stuff. So let's get back to this. So that was just a little side note, establishing that, these people win awards, right? All right, so let's see. And when I say these people, I'm talking about racists, like this guy, right? He's an actual white supremacist murderer. And all right, so we're going to go back to their explanation of what happened. All right, them trying to weasel out of it.
9. You're like, hey, dude, nice to meet you. What's your information? I'm going to look some things up. That's just not how people operate.
I know.
Well, that's why I don't even want to go down that path.
Right.
I want to focus on the fact that we, as a station, had to confront this head on. And, look, I've had conversations with Paddy Duke, and he told me he got swept up in the Yusef Hawkins situation. He also told me that...
So he just admitted it.
Have nothing to do with it.
A while ago.
But he got charged, and he got I don't know if it was misdemeanors or felonies or his stuff was dropped, but he was convicted of some stuff relating to that.
He told you this.
This was, man, it had to be more than like 18 years ago.
So he's known for 18 years. Ebro's known about this for 18 years.
I didn't know he had a misdemeanor though. Because he did get charged with a misdemeanor, I didn't know that his record had been expunged.
That's key, because even if they did a background check today,
it wouldn't have come up. And based on
what do you mean it wouldn't have come up? All you got to do is Google. If you Google before this year, you can find it, right? All you had to do is look in the newspaper, turn on the TV. He was on TV.
What I know about the NYPD.
This isn't like he murdered somebody that nobody knew about and in some obscure place. Like no, he the person that Paddy Duke, the Hot 97 person murdered a black man, a black child that he murdered was a big news story. They knew. They clearly knew.
PD, neighborhoods getting swept up around a murder. That's normal procedure, especially in the late 80s and 90s. Everybody.
So now he's trying to defend Paddy Duke. He's trying to say like, maybe Paddy Duke just got caught up in the sweep. They sweep hoods. They don't sweep Italian hoods. Maybe in the 1920s, maybe in 1940, they were sweeping Italian hoods. In 1980s, they were not sweeping no Italian hoods like they do black hoods, right? They go to the black hoods, they start sweeping. They were not sweeping Italians, Caucasian Americans in 1980. Maybe 1940, maybe 1918, but not now. Not 1980, right? 1980, they were not sweeping Italian hoods. So we can clearly see Ebro knew for at least 18 years that his coworker murdered a black child and was silent. Right? He didn't say anything. Oh, we got Noah in the house. Shout out to Noah. So we're going to flip back around. All right, I'm going to flip back to the screen.
If you was outside, if you was near the park, if you were anywhere around, you getting swept up.
That's true.
In a black neighborhood, yes. Not an Italian American neighborhood. There are no sweeps in Italian American neighborhoods across the country. Right? Maybe 1925 when there was a lot of Italian gangs and in Chicago or whatever. But not 1989.
Period. Now,
so he's trying to defend a murderer.
So it was believable. So when he presented it to you like that, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
They put you on.
So Ebro truly believed that they were sweeping Italian and American neighborhoods.
And what am I going to say to a guy I'm working with? I don't believe you?
Right, a guy who's hired way before you were hired.
Clearly, people have known this guy longer than I have. And if everybody's good with it, we all here together.
And that's part about white supremacy. Everybody's good with it. That's called, it's called a work culture,
Fam, there was.
So that's what I'm establishing here, that Hot 97 has a white supremacist work culture. So on a daily basis, they're playing things that degrade black women, black children, black men, and they're profiting from it. All right. And then they're only using hosts that are mixed. Like they said. They said it themselves.
Tweeted. He wrote, all my years at Hot 97, I had no idea until this recent documentary that came out that Paddy Duke had anything to do with the murder of Yusef Hawkins. It's sickening and sad.
And I said, love him.
Yeah.
Guess who was here before me?
Ed Lover.
When the station started.
That was when it started,
first morning
bro.
show.
That was the first
morning show once we turned to Hot 97.
So, that's the real on what we are dealing with right now here at Hot 97. And there's no way to get around it. There's no way to, people going to be mad. People going to accuse. People going to throw rocks. People going to do all of that. And we're going to have to sit here with it. This ain't the first time that we've had to deal with some drama. And like I said earlier, on behalf of our team on Ebro in the Morning, I can say that...
He said it's not the first time we've had to deal with some drama. This isn't just drama. This is some serious stuff. This is murder. This is like them, like one of the cops that killed George Floyd. This is like Chicago radio, or Minneapolis radio, booking one of the murderers of George Floyd as a hip hop radio host. It's totally blasphemy, right? Okay.
We apologize that this is even happening. It was out of our control, but we apologize.
Lie? That's a lie. How was it out of your control? They could have fired him decades ago. They didn't have to hire him. They knew who he was from the beginning.
And we're here now. We've inherited something that we have to, as a team, deal with the brunt of. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. I mean, for people who are not familiar with the story, watch the documentary, Storm Over Brooklyn. It's RIP to Yusef Hawkins, because yesterday was 31 years since he passed. And this was...
So they fired him on the anniversary of his death, right? they fired Paddy Dukes. For those who are just tuning in, they fired this guy right here, Paddy Dukes, that murdered this guy with the mob of Italian Americans. They fired him on the anniversary of his death. Like why would it's like that's sick. All this whole thing is sick, and we clearly can see that Hot 97 is a sick institution, promoting debauchery to black youths, urban black communities, right? Okay. Now we're gonna keep playing it. All right.
Since he was killed.
Since he was
murdered, and you will be reminded.
Notice how, and also here, notice the graphic design of this. Notice how the two black men are at the bottom, right? And they're always silent, and they're kind of a little bit more meek, a little bit more, reserved, right? Than the hosts here, who have bigger, kind of, look more confident, right? You can see the body language.
Just how horrifying the relationship was between Italians and black people in New York.
The relationship was, it still is bad if you look at the news.
New York City in the 80s. And the way
Italians and blacks, Jews and blacks, racism in New York City. And by the way, I'm 45. People 40 and older, they remember this vividly. And
so wait, he said people in 40. Oh, they're constantly they're caught red-handed. He just said people over 40 remember this vividly, but then he's also saying that how are they supposed to know? They didn't. They remember it. If you remember it, and then how would you hire the person that you remember him killing a black child? Right? He said so. He's saying that they all remember it vividly. And I'm sure the executives at Hot 97 are older than 45, right? And especially the ones at the time that hired him were probably, remember the incident as well, right? Everybody heard about it.
Just like this Paddy Duke scenario, for us, individuals who were close to this in some way, shape, or form, or are from neighborhoods that, make no mistake, even to this day, black people don't go through Bensonhurst like that.
That's a fact.
Howard Beach. Remember the Howard Beach incident?
Yeah.
And he was just saying that they do sweeps in Bensonhurst, right? He was saying the cops do sweeps. They don't do no sweeps in Bensonhurst.
Staten Island. People don't really F with Staten Island like that.
Right. It's improved, but it's based off the reputation of those times.
And the reason I bring that up is because the fabric of the individuals that shaped that energy, those individuals are still in positions here in the city. And I bring that up because...
And he's catching himself red-handed again. He's saying they're in positions in the city, right? And Hot 97 is in the city, right? And it's this is streamed off the Empire State Building.
As one of the institutions of New York radio that Hot 97 is, it affected us too. The baggage of racism in New York City. So when people try to act like New York City has changed, it's working to change.
And if you think it's bad that...
Notice they have Ebro talking about this and not, Rosenberg most of the time. It's like, oh, we got our mixed black guy. We're not racist.
The guy who produced commercials at the radio station being connected to it is bad. Imagine the other places where people connected to...
This guy, he was making commercials, right? For Hot 97. He's targeting black youths, and he murdered a black youth. So we're going to flip back to this guy's picture. This guy right here, Paddy Duke's an Italian-American named Pasquale Raucci, and he murdered this young 16-year-old boy, right? Young man. And, he murdered a child, and, he's winning Oscars, and they exalted him right after it. A couple years after the murder, 5 years after, they hired him, right? Okay. So let's click back. Oh, let me flip back. All right. So we're going to click back to here. All right. We're going to keep playing.
Things like that are that you're not aware of. Positions of power.
So
who are now, they were 18, 19 then, they're in their mid-40s. Paddy Duke's what, almost 50?
Yeah,
something like that?
50. So, once again, My apologies that we have to bring up these wounds.
Wait, why is he apologizing? He knew for 18 years, and he's calling it a wound, but, you know, they've been paying him for all this time.
And deal with this pain in this manner. And that was a part of our team here.
And you're right, Spencer. These are cornballs. Shout out to Spencer out chilling out in Russia right now.
They're at Hot 97.
All right, so that's Hot 97. Now, we're gonna go a little bit deeper, and I'm gonna show you the fact of how dark the industry is. I'm gonna type not on YouTube, but I'm gonna type on Google. I'm gonna type, let's see, "Killing Me Softly." Let's see, so "Killing Me Softly" director. So "Killing Me Softly" director. All right, so this is the guy that everybody knows, that video, like that Lauryn Hill big classic hit "Killing Me Softly." And I just want to show, we're going to be exposing a lot of the dark areas of the music industry, because if you're an up and coming artist, you need to be able to have the tools to know, because if you're an artist and you're like, how come my stuff's not popping? How come this guy's stuff is popping? Or maybe my friend lives down the street. Maybe your friend down the street's in a frat, or maybe he's in a lodge, or he's in some type of group that is behind the scenes that's helping him, achieve greatness. Because they say that to achieve greatness is usually like three main ways. Either you're born into it, like, maybe, like a celebrity that's born into it, like maybe like Zoe Kravitz or something. She's born into being famous or whatever. You're born into it, or you're thrust into it. That means like you're walking down the street one day and somebody's like, oh, wow, you should be a model. And they make that person a model, and that person becomes a supermodel. Or you achieve it, and you achieve greatness. Like somebody like Kanye, who's like, okay, he's, working at a fast food spot, and he's, scraping by, and he's, selling beats for a couple $100, and it gets to $500, and $10,000, 10,000, 50,000, $1 million. He went from the bottom and came up, So now we're going to look at the guy that directed, this is just a little side thing to end it, just to show how dark, there's a lot of tip of the iceberg. This is just the tip of the iceberg, what we just found out today about Hot 97, or this weekend.